A film about people who vanish into thin air after a global blackout. With the lead actor from Jumper and the guy who ruined Star Wars. So The Vanishing on 7th Street stars Hayden Christensen, Thandie Newton, and John Leguizamo, and some child actor who I haven't heard of, as 4 survivors who have survived a global blackout in which everyone inexplicably disappears, in which they vanish into thin air, like they're gone just like that. But all their personal belongings and clothing are left behind, in which their spirit has turned into shadows, which consume people when they're in the darkness. Now, the only way to survive from these shadows is to have your own source of light with you at all times, and not be in a place that's very dark. But you must only trust your own light source, because the shadows can fool you with fake sources of light. So Hayden Christensen plays one of the survivors, Luke, who's a television reporter. He becomes the de facto leader of this group as they all meet up in a dimly lit bar off Detroit's 7th Street, which is where the movie gets its title from. And they all decide that the light sources in the bar aren't enough for them to survive for much longer, so they gotta figure out a way to escape and see if there's any place in the area where this hasn't happened yet. Now, the acting in this film is just average. I mean, it's really nothing special at all. Like, Hayden Christensen has been a bad actor, of course. I know. You know it. The whole entire world knows it. If I could sum up his performance, it could be like this. It's terrible at worst and average at best, so I guess that can really analyze his performance just like that, because he wasn't really awful at all in this film, but he was just average. Thandie Newton and John Leguizamo are also okay in this film. I mean, once again, they're kind of playing stock character roles in this. And the one kid who plays James, the young preteen kid who's one of the survivors, he does alright. Like, nobody really stands out in this film. Like, the acting's just really subpar at best. But I think it's really the technicality of this film that elevates it above its sloppy acting. It's very well directed by Brad Anderson, who's mostly known for directing The Machinist, you know, the movie where Christian Bale looked like the size of a dum-dum stick. He does a really great job at creating suspense and this whole atmosphere of the film. This isn't really a pop-up scare horror film, as it's more of a very slow building, eerie suspense film, and I think he does a really good job at executing it. The CG effects for the shadows are done very well too, and the way they build up all the tension to whether the shadows are going to consume these people or not, usually they hit you by surprise at some points, I think they're both done very well. However, the script in this film, which is written by first-timer Anthony Jaswinski, he has a lot of great ideas for this kind of concept, yet there's some of these useless subplots that we really don't really care about at all. And some of the decisions these characters make are very far-fetched and stupid at times. However, even though I'm criticizing this film so much, I still think it's a pretty well-made film, and this is a film that hasn't even released in theaters yet, but you can find it on demand right now. And I think it deserves a viewing. Like, I really enjoyed the movie, even though I had a couple gripes with it, mostly Hayden Christensen, of course. For a movie that has a limited budget and pretty cool special effects at the same time, I'm all in for it. I mean, I really like movies in which people are stuck in a place and they don't really know what to do, yet some of their decisions, again, are far-fetched at times, but hey, I'll let it slide. I'm gonna give Vanishing on 7th Street 3 out of 5 stars. I mean, it's really well directed, and it's got some great special effects in it in certain scenes, and it really rises above the sloppy acting, so you gotta check it out. I mean, if you're a hardcore film buff who really likes the slow building suspense kind of film, you're gonna really enjoy it, but the mainstream crowd not as much, because they're gonna want a lot of pop-up scares and blood flying across the screen. You don't really get any of that in this film, but in the vein of a Twilight Zone episode, this is how this film really works, because it does a great job of building up that slow building suspense. So I hope you enjoyed my review of The Vanishing on 7th Street, and I really hope you subscribe to my channel after seeing this, because I got more coming on the way, of course. Until then, I'm Tyler from Cali Critic Reviews. Subscribe to my channel, so watch my past reviews. So in the meantime, see you guys around.